Take a deep breath in and slowly let it out. Good. Now, let's get just a little more comfortable. Adjust your blanket if you like. Sink into the softness beneath you. Feel your eyes begin to grow heavy as the world around you becomes quieter, slower, gentler. There is no rush, no to-do list here. Only this soft moment and your breath flowing in and out. Let your shoulders fall away from your ears. Let your fingers uncurl. Let your jaw grow loose and soft. Feel your thoughts drift like mist, float like flower in sunlight. You are safe. You are calm. You are here. Now, let's go, together, into a simpler time, to a gentle place, tucked far away, down winding forest roads, where the stars are brighter and the world moves slower. Our story tonight begins. Narration begins. The story phase. In the small stone-laced village of Hearth. The roofs are steep and mossy. The cottages warm and low to the ground, with ivy creeping over cobbled walls, and smoke curling from every chimney, like whispers into the morning sky. There is only one road through Hearth, and along that road, nestled between a quiet well and an old stone arch wrapped in honeysuckle, lives the village baker. His name is Tomas, but most just call him the morning man, because no matter how early the roosters crow, or how thick the fog hangs in the valley, Tomas is always awake before the sun. Long before even the birds begin their songs, he's already there, in the warm hush of his humble bakehouse. The building itself leans slightly to one side, not from wear, but from years of kindness. It smells always of bread and smoke, of fresh flour and soft herbs. Its windows glow amber from within, even in the coldest months. Tonight, like every night before, the world is still wrapped in velvet dark. Stars blink lazily overhead, and frost paints the rooftops silver. But from the little bakehouse on the hill, there is a soft glow and a gentle sound, crack-pop hiss. The clay oven is being stoked. Inside, Tomas moves slowly, lovingly. His hands are practiced and sure. He wears a thick wool apron, and flour dusts his sleeves like old snow. He reaches for the bundle of twigs he laid out the evening before: birch, pine, and hazelwood, chosen not just for heat, but for their scent. Because you see, in Hearth, they believe that bread remembers. Bread carries memories, they say. It holds the echo of your thoughts and bakes your emotions into every golden crust. So, Tomas chooses each piece of wood the way a musician chooses notes. He lays them carefully in the deep belly of the clay oven, nestled like sleeping kittens. Then he lights a single beeswax candle, murmurs something soft in Latin, and leans in. Crack, crackle, glow. The fire begins to hum. It stretches out, lazily, licking the inside of the oven with glowing amber tongues. Tomas smiles, not a wide smile, but the kind that only visits quiet faces. A smile that feels like warm bread cooling on a windowsill. Sensory immersion, descriptive lull. The heat in the bakehouse begins to rise, but never rushes. It's a slow warmth, a comforting, even breath that fills the room. The stone floor warms beneath his boots. The wooden table softens with candlelight. Outside, the frost melts silently on the windows. And inside, Tomas begins to prepare his dough. He does not rush. In fact, Tomas believes that haste ruins the spirit of bread. So everything is done gently. He kneads with care, the dough folding beneath his palms, like ocean waves washing ashore. Soft, steady, soothing. And as he kneads, he whispers, not words exactly, but kindnesses. He hums a lullaby his mother used to sing, back when he was no taller than the counter. He tells the doe about the child down the road who scraped his knee but didn't cry. He shares a wish that today's bread will feed someone who's been too lonely for too long. And then, just for good measure, he closes his eyes and simply thinks a warm, grateful thought. Because in Hollow Hearth, they say the best bread rises with love. Wind down, the sleep transition. Outside, the sky begins to lighten, not with color yet, just a softening, a pale breath in the east. Inside, the dough is shaped and dusted. Each loaf is wrapped in a linen cloth and left to rest near the hearth. There's a stillness now, a waiting, the kind of silence that holds no fear, only promise. Tomas leans back in his creaky chair, hands on his lap, eyes half closed, and for just a moment, the only sounds are the faint crackle of the fire, the soft ticking of an iron clock, and the slow, even breath of someone who has always known exactly what peace feels like. Perhaps you feel it now, too. The warmth in your chest, the softness of the night, the glow behind your eyelids. Let yourself rest, just like the loaves, wrapped in linen, bathed in calm, safe. Recap and re-entry, gently returning the listener to the scene. Still resting? Good. You're meant to be. Let's slip back now. Back to the quiet village of Hollow Hearth, where the frost still clings to the grass outside, and candlelight still flickers behind the little bakery's windows. Do you remember? Tomas the baker is sitting in his old wooden chair. The loaves are rising slowly under soft linen cloths, warmed by the crackling hearth. Outside. But inside, time feels like it's holding its breath. This is the hour Tomas loves most. The ancient tools, a touch of history. In the silence, Tomas reaches for a worn wooden box. Its lid creaks quietly, revealing row after row of small metal stamps, each one carved with a different symbol. There's a spiral, a sheaf of wheat, a small crescent moon, even a tiny owl, wings tucked. These are bread seals, old tools passed down for generations. You see, long ago, especially in medieval Europe, people used carved bread stamps to mark each loaf with a blessing or a symbol, a sacred pattern, a family sigil, even a charm against bad dreams. Tomas doesn't need to use them. No one asks, but every morning, without fail, he chooses one. Tonight, his fingers brush over the little owl, then pause on the spiral. Yes, the spiral tonight. A symbol for protection and gentle, endless sleep. With a practiced hand, he presses the warm seal gently into the top of each round loaf. Not too deep, just enough to leave a soft, swirling mark, like the curl of a sleeping cat, or the pattern frost leaves on old glass. Slow movements embodying calm, one by one. The loaves are moved from cloth to peel, a wide wooden board, polished smooth with years of flour and firelight. Tomas slides open the oven door. A wave of gentle heat greets him. It smells of pine and stone and morning. He places the loaves inside, carefully spaced, each one resting like a cradle-held thought. And then he closes the door. The fire hums quietly behind it, like a lullaby in a language no longer spoken aloud. A moment of rest, breathing and stillness. Now, there's nothing to do but wait. So Tomas moves to the little bench by the window, pulls his wool shawl over his shoulders, and pours himself a cup of warm barley tea. It's quiet. So very quiet, but not empty. No, the silence here is full of things that don't need to speak. The soft shifting of logs in the hearth, the faint sound of yeast singing inside the bread, the whistle of wind curling around the stone cottage. Outside, the first golden light begins to bloom, like butter melting over the horizon. Inside, Tomas closes his eyes for just a moment. One breath in, one breath out. And in the warmth and stillness, time seems to stretch, then fold itself into a cozy corner of the world. The village awakens, softly. The sun is slow this morning. Like it too wishes to stay curled in the clouds a little longer, but the roosters begin to call. One here, then another, like sleepy trumpets from distant towers. Far off, a cartwheel creaks, a dog barks, once, and then the first footfalls on the path. Wool shoes over stone, soft voices under scarves. The village is waking, and they are all heading toward the little bakehouse. Tomas greets the day, a gentle routine. Tomas stands. He opens the shutters. A golden spill of sun creeps across the counter, catching in the flour motes that drift through the air. He takes out a worn linen cloth, one he's had since he was a boy, and gently wipes the counter clean. Each movement, slow, deliberate, a ritual of welcome, of readiness, of love. Bread from the heart, a medieval belief. He once read, in an old monastery ledger, that some believed bread was a living thing, that it could feel your hands, hear your thoughts, carry the emotion of the baker into every crumb. Tomas has always believed this. That's why he never bakes angry, why he never kneads in silence, why he whispers to the crust and stamps each loaf with a blessing. He believes, as many did, quietly, in the shadows of castle kitchens, that food made with love feeds the soul more than the body. Final moments, transition to sleep. And now, the oven door creaks open. The scent that spills out is thick and golden, rich and calm, like honey and earth and hope, like stories told by firelight, like warm hands on cold days. Tomas lifts the first loaf, steam rising like a ghost from its crust, and places it gently onto the counter. Outside, more footsteps approach. Children laugh softly. A bell chimes from the chapel tower. But here, in this warm little space, there is still peace, still quiet, still the slow rhythm of love in motion. So now, as you lie there, eyes heavy, wrapped in your own kind of warmth, let the fire's crackle become the rhythm of your breath. Let the rising loaves be the thoughts you let go of. Let yourself drift, like flour floating through golden morning light. You are safe. You are calm. You are part of this peaceful story. And the baker's kindness is folded now into your dreams. Sleep is rising now, like warm bread in a quiet oven. Just rest, let go, drift. Drifting re-entry, return to stillness. There you are. Still warm, still resting, still gently breathing in the quiet of the night. You're not dreaming, not quite. You're somewhere between, held softly, in the arms of a slow, peaceful story. Let's go back together, back to the little village of Hollow Hearth, where time still tiptoes and the day has only just begun. The village bakery. A soft gathering begins. Inside the bakehouse, the light is golden and low. The loaves sit cooling on wide wooden boards, their crusts gently crackling in the hush. One by one, the villagers arrive. They don't knock. They never have to. Instead, they simply open the crooked little door, step inside with smiles still half asleep, and breathe deeply, the way you might sigh when hugging someone you've missed. Tomas nods to each one. No words at first, just warm eyes and open hands. He knows their favorites. Medieval morning rituals, little-known traditions. Old Mr. Ellis, who once tended the chapel bells, loves the round barley loaf, stamped with a sunburst. Barley, you see, was the grain of the common folk in medieval times. Cheaper than wheat, nutty, hearty, grounding. Many villagers in real medieval towns would start their day with a slice of barley bread soaked in warm ale or milk, what they called pottage, to soften the crust and fill the belly gently. Tomas always sets aside one warm barley round for Mr. Ellis, wrapped in a square of wool cloth, tied with a bit of red string. A young visitor, simple wonder. Then there's Malin, the little girl with braids and berry-stained mittens. She skips through the bakery doorway like a stone tossed gently into a pond, bringing ripples of laughter wherever she lands. She only ever wants one thing: a small roll with dried apples and honey baked in the shape of a sleeping fox. Not because it's the sweetest, but because she believes if she eats it slowly, she'll dream of running barefoot through forests no one's ever mapped. Tomas always saves her the very best one, golden and soft, still warm in the center. He places it in her mittened hands with a wink, and Malin curtsies like a knight's daughter from a fairy tale. The scent of memory, layered calm. The air in the bakery is thick now, with the scent of comfort. Fresh crust and clover honey, roasted oats and sugared walnuts, and just a trace of rosemary from the herb bread rising near the hearth. Tomas always bakes a little rosemary into the dough. On market days, in the medieval world, rosemary was believed to sharpen the memory, to protect against illness, and even to keep bad dreams away. Some would tuck it into pillows, others into their shoes. But Tomas? He prefers to tuck it into bread, so that even the dreams of those who eat it might be a little gentler, a little brighter, a little more kind. Moments of silence, gentle mindfulness. The villagers do not linger. They take their loaves, nod their thanks, and step back out into the quiet morning mist. But in that short time, those few minutes inside the little bakehouse, they are wrapped in warmth, in kindness, in the silence of shared ritual. No need for chatter, no rush, no coin counted, just bread, given and received, with soft hands and a soft heart. A pause between breathing with the fire. Once the last loaf has found its home, Tomas sits again. He pours the last of his barley tea. The sun is fully risen now, but gently so. It creeps through the window, painting his table in honey and shadow. Dust motes drift like floating feathers. The oven breathes softly beside him, its fire now settled into glowing coals, and he breathes with it. In and out, in and out. The rhythm of fire, the rhythm of breath, the rhythm of life lived slowly, softly, lovingly. A baker's journal, a medieval habit. Beneath the bench, Tomas keeps a leather-bound book, soft with age, edges curled like pie crust. Each evening, after the last crumb is swept, he writes a line or two, a simple habit, learned from his grandfather, who learned it from monks in a stone monastery far from Hollow Hearth. In medieval scriptoriums, it was believed that writing down blessings helped them take root in the world, that to put something kind into ink was to give it form and flight. So Tomas writes, not long passages, just quiet notes. The fire caught well today. The dough listened. Malin laughed and made the fox roll dance. The bread rose beautifully. I think someone will sleep well tonight. Invitation to sleep. Hypnotic wind down. And now, sweet dreamer, you are part of this story too. Your thoughts are like flour floating in sunbeams. Your worries are folding gently into dough. Breathe with the oven. Breathe with the bread. In and out. Soft. Still. Safe. Just as Tomas kneads each loaf with calm hands, so too are you being gently, lovingly shaped by rest, by warmth, by dreams, rising slow and sure in the hearth of your heart. Let your eyes close, let the light dim, let the story wrap around you like warm wool. You are the bread. You are the baker. You are the quiet morning in hollow hearth. Sleep now. Let go. Soft re-entry. The breath of a quiet day. Still resting there? Still warm? Still safe? Let the day behind you slip further away and return with me to the quiet cobbled village of Hollow Hearth, where bread rises like hope and every breath feels like home. The morning is well underway now, but even so, time continues to move in that same gentle rhythm, the rhythm of fire and flower, of kindness and quiet. Mid-morning light, describing the world. The light has shifted. It's no longer soft and silver, but golden, thick and warm. It spills over the rooftops, melting what's left of the frost, kissing every corner of the village with honeyed hush. Chickens cluck from garden coops. A sleepy cat stretches along a sun-warmed wall. A wheelbarrow creaks softly as a farmer rolls it past the chapel gate. And in the bakehouse, Tomas is still there. He doesn't rush, never rushes. There is bread still to shape, pastries to tuck into baskets. But every motion is deliberate, slow and steady. The elder's request, a quiet visit. Just as Tomas begins to sift the rye flour, the little iron bell above the door jingles. He turns and smiles gently. It's Mother Anwen. She's the oldest soul in Hollow Hearth. 92 winters she's seen. And still, her hands are strong, her eyes clear. She walks with a staff carved from rowan wood, a branch gifted to her by her own mother's mother. In the medieval world, rowan trees were said to protect against bad spirits and often stood beside cottages as quiet, leafy guardians. Tomas has always believed that Anwen herself is just such a guardian. A memory loaf, food as remembrance. She doesn't speak much today, just places a small cloth bundle on the counter. Inside, a handful of dried violet petals, a pinch of caraway seed, and a sliver of hard cheese. Tomas understands. He nods once and begins to mix the dough. You see, long ago, Anwen's husband used to ask for a special bread baked with caraway and violet and served with warm cheese and tea. She's asked Tomas to make it once a year on his birthday. Not to eat, but to remember. Because in Hollow Hearth, as in many quiet corners of medieval Europe, it was believed that bread could carry memory, that when eaten on certain days, it would call forth dreams of those no longer here. So Tomas kneads the dough with reverence and sprinkles the violets like prayers, baking with intention, a meditative act. The dough is soft, pale and fragrant, with specks of purple blooming through it like ink in water. He folds it, slowly, lets it rest, then shapes it into a gentle round and places it near the coals. As it bakes, the scent of sweet herbs and warm cheese fills the air. Tomas doesn't speak. He simply sits beside Anwen, hands resting on the table, eyes on the fire. And together, they let the past rise into the room like steam from bread. No need to explain, no need to rush, just the quiet comfort of shared memory. The ringing bell, a medieval marker of time. Outside, the chapel bell chimes once, a clear, round sound that echoes over the rooftops like a silver ripple across a lake. In medieval villages, such bells were often rung not just for worship, but to mark the hours, to call workers to meal, to signal rest. In hollow hearth, the bell rings not to hurry, but to remind villagers, to look up, to pause, to breathe. And so Tomas does. He closes his eyes, lets the warmth of the fire touch his face, and breathes in slowly. One breath in, and one breath out. You can do that, too, can't you? In and out, let the ringing bell fade, and carry your thoughts with it soft and slow, and light as flower dust. The elder departs. A gentle goodbye. The bread is done. Tomas lifts it from the hearth with careful hands and places it into Anwen's basket, wrapped in linen. She nods, says nothing, but pats his hand once. Then she leaves, her staff tapping gently down the cobbled lane, back toward the little house with the ivy-covered roof. And as she walks, the scent of violet and caraway follows her like a quiet song. Return to stillness, preparing for midday. The bakehouse is quiet again. The rush of morning has passed, the shelves are half empty, and the oven is now more glow than flame. Tomas wipes down the counters. He refills the tea kettle. He hums softly, the same lullaby his mother sang when clouds gathered over the village, just a thread of sound, enough to make the walls feel close and the floor feel warm. The kind of sound that wraps around your thoughts, like wool wraps around chilled toes. Drift toward sleep, soft encouragement. And now, sweet soul, as you lie still, breathing in this slow, golden world, you too are part of it, part of the peace, part of the rhythm. Like a loaf resting near the hearth, you are wrapped in warmth, rising gently toward rest. There is no hurry, no noise, no need for anything. But this breath and the next, you are in hollow hearth. You are safe, you are still, you are enough. Let sleep rise in you, the way dough rises in quiet unseen, but certain. Gentle return, a whisper back into the story. You're still with me. Still safe, still resting, and the village is still waiting for you. Just past the veil of thought, where mist clings to old rooftops, and the sun moves like a soft hand across weathered stone. Come now, let's return to the cobbled path that winds through hollow hearth, to the bakehouse with the crooked chimney, and the windows always glowing with golden light. Let's find Tomas again, right where we left him. Noon in the bakehouse, a lull in time. The bakehouse is quieter now. The shelves are half empty. A few round loaves, a braided wheat ring, a tray of honey oat rolls still warm on the bottom. Outside, the sun sits high, spilling dappled light through old glass panes. Inside, the shadows shift slowly, like flour drifting through sunlight. Tomas stands by the open window, looking out. His hands are still dusted in flour, his apron soft with use. But he isn't kneading or shaping. Not now, because in hollow hearth, noon is not for work. It is for listening. The hour of bells, a little-known tradition. Long ago, when the abbey still held daily mass, the monks would ring a single bell at noon. Not a summons, not a command, but an invitation to pause, to bow the head, to breathe. They called it the little silence, just a minute or two of stillness for the heart. Even though the abbey stands quiet now, Tomas keeps the ritual alive in his own way. Every day at noon, he opens the window, closes his eyes, and lets the silence pour in. No kneading, no measuring, no words, just warmth. and light and breath. You can do that too, can't you? Let's try a long, soft inhale and an even slower exhale. Good. Let the noise melt away. Let your thoughts grow quiet. Let yourself float in this gentle stillness. An unusual visitor, a small surprise. Just as the silence settles like powder sugar on a scone, Tomas hears a sound. Not a knock, not footsteps, but something softer. Tap, scratch, flutter. He opens the back door, and there, on the wooden step, sits a small bird, a sparrow. No, a thrush, perhaps. Its feathers are streaked with soot, as if it flew too close to a chimney. In its beak is a long strand of hay. Tomas tilts his head, smiles. He's seen this bird before. It nests in the rafters above the oven, tucked between the old beams where the warmth rises. But the cats cannot reach. Medieval bakers often shared space with animals. Not just cats for mice, but birds, too. In fact, some even believed that to have a nesting bird above your bakehouse was a sign of luck, a guardian spirit in feathered form. Tomas and the bird, a shared moment. Tomas crouches slowly. He reaches into his apron pocket and pulls out a few soft oat crumbs left from trimming the morning rolls. He holds them out, palm open. The bird hops once, twice, then plucks a crumb and flutters up into the rafters again. Tomas watches it go, then chuckles to himself. A good omen, he murmurs, in a voice as warm as fresh rye. And just like that, the moment passes. The quiet of the afternoon, stillness as a gift. Afternoon in Hollow Hearth is the gentlest part of the day. The markets have closed. Children nap in sunlit corners. Wool spinners pause their wheels. The cobbler closes his shutters. There's a softness that settles over the village. Not silence, exactly, but peace. In the bakehouse, Tomas slices a piece of nut bread, wraps it in linen, and pours himself a second cup of tea. He moves to the back stoop, where the ivy climbs the old wall and bees hum lazily in the air. He sits. He sips. He lets the warmth of the cup soak into his fingers. The medieval mindset, the beauty of doing less. In the modern world, busy is praised. But in medieval villages like Hollow Hearth, there was deep respect for stillness, for the act of doing nothing with purpose. To rest was not laziness. It was preparation. It was reverence. Tomas carries this wisdom like an invisible cloak. Everything he does is slow, intentional, filled with thought. Even now, as he sits on the stoop, crumbs in his beard, teacup balanced on his knee, he is not wasting time. He is honoring it. Drift towards sleep, invitation to rest. And you, dear listener, you, too, can take this moment, this quiet. No need to fix, no need to finish, no need to try. Just breathe. Let the softness wrap around you. Let your thoughts stretch out like a cat in a warm patch of sunlight. The day is gentle now. The world is quiet. The story is holding you, like the little bird in the rafters, like the loaves resting near the fire, like the sun settling over the stone roofs of Hollow Hearth. You are not lost. You are not late. You are home. Let go. Breathe slow. Sleep deeper. Drifting in, breathing back into the world. Still here. Still resting. Let's return again. Ever so slowly to that quiet village where time unravels like soft twine and each moment is laced with warmth. The sun has dipped just slightly now, stretching golden fingers across the thatched rooftops, turning chimney smoke into ribbons of amber and pearl. And in the little bakehouse, with its leaning shutters and ivy-covered stones, Tomas the baker is preparing for the evening. The evening rise. One more loaf. Though most of the day's bread has long been claimed, there's one final batch rising in a wooden bowl, soft dough resting beneath a damp linen cloth, tucked near the glowing coals of the oven. It's a special bread, a twilight bread, made only once a week. Tomas calls it Dreamer's Loaf, and no one knows the recipe but him. He bakes it for those who struggle to sleep, for those whose thoughts pace like restless horses, or whose dreams have gone missing in the dark. It's a mixture of spelt, honey, lavender, crushed almonds, and just the faintest touch of poppy seed. In medieval times, poppy seeds were often steeped in warm milk to ease pain and lull the body into rest. Tomas folds just enough into the dough to hush the mind, not too much, just a breath, enough to help the heart slow and the eyes grow heavy. Preparing the loaf, a soft ritual. He turns the dough gently now, hands slow and steady, as if he were shaping fog. The surface is smooth and cool, speckled with tiny lavender petals and shimmers of almond dust. As he presses and folds, he hums under his breath. Not a song exactly, but something more ancient. A vibration felt in the chest, a kind of remembered comfort. His grandmother taught it to him, back when she kneaded by candlelight, and believed that every loaf carried the energy of its maker's breath. So Tomas hums, and the bread listens. You can listen too, to the soft hum in your chest, to the breath moving through you like wind through reeds. Hum, souffly, drift with it. Let your thoughts knead themselves into silence. Marking the crust, a whispered blessing. Once shaped, the loaf is brushed with warm oat cream, a trick learned from a traveling monk who once traded prayer for bread. Then comes the final touch. Tomas reaches for a tiny iron stamp, this one shaped like a feather. Feathers, in old belief, were symbols of guidance, of dreams, of the soul rising beyond the body, into starlight. He presses it gently into the top of the loaf. The mark is light, like a breath pressed into the surface of snow. Then into the oven it goes, where fire waits like an old friend. A candle for each loaf, a custom of care. While the loaf bakes, Tomas lights a single beeswax candle. This, too, is tradition. In medieval Europe, bakers would often light candles, not just for light, but for intention. A flame for healing, a flame for gratitude, a flame for safe journeys or soft sleep. Tomas keeps a bundle of hand-dipped candles, tied with simple twine. Tonight's candle is pale blue, the color of early morning skies, the color of silence before dreams speak. He sets it near the oven, lets it flicker, lets it whisper warmth into the dough as it begins to rise and darken. Outside, evening falls, the village changes color beyond the bakehouse walls. The world has shifted. Shadows grow longer, lamps are lit with slow hands, and doors creak open as fires are stoked for the night. The children have gone quiet. Stories now read from memory, or murmured in sing-song by tired grandmothers. Chickens are herded into coops. A shepherd whistles in the distance as his dog leads the last of the sheep home. The village breathes out, like you are now, one long, soft breath, in and out. Everything around you is winding down. Even your thoughts, once fluttering, now fold like parchment on a storyteller's lap. Bread for dreams, the loaf is ready. Back inside, the scent of Dreamer's loaf has begun to fill the bakehouse. Warm almond, gentle honey, faint lavender and poppy. A blend that seems to cradle the senses, softening the space around your mind. Tomas removes it with quiet reverence and places it on a cooling rack, lined with clean cotton. He does not touch it now, does not slice it. He simply waits, lets the loaf speak in steam and scent, in warmth and weight. It is not just food, it is a message, a blessing, a lullaby you can hold in your hands. Drifting toward sleep, final descent, and you, lying there in your cocoon of blankets, wrapped in stillness, breathing soft and even. You are like the loaf, risen in peace, stamped with care, filled with light. There is nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to go. Just feel your breath, moving in and out, like the tide beneath your skin. Let yourself become the dreamer. Let yourself become the loaf. Let yourself become the soft candle flicker in the baker's quiet room. Safe, held, loved. Sleep now, and let the story keep you warm. Return to the story. A low-glowing evening. You're still with me. Soft and still, wrapped in rest. Let's slip back once more to the little village where stars begin to bloom in the indigo sky above, and a single warm window still glows just beyond the chapel bend. It is the window of the bakehouse, Tomas's bakehouse, where the last loaf of the day has finished its rise. The fire is low now, red coals like the heartbeats of sleeping stones. The dreamer's loaf has cooled, and the candle beside it flickers its final breaths. The day is ending, but so softly, so slowly, you almost don't notice. A simple gift. The loaf is delivered. Thomas wraps the loaf in a square of old linen, the same one his mother used to carry bread to the winter feasts. He doesn't tie it with string. He simply folds it gently, like tucking in a sleeping child. Then he steps out into the cool evening air. The moon is just rising, low and silver and soft, like a pearl in the palm of the sky. The village path glows beneath it, pale cobblestones kissed by moonlight. Tomas walks in silence. No boots, just soft wool socks over well-worn soles. He walks slowly, each step on exhale. The sleepless boy, a midnight request. The loaf is not for him. It's for a small cottage near the edge of the forest, the one with the crooked gate, and the wind chime made from broken spoons. Inside lives a boy named Eli. Eli is 6 winters old, with hair like willow bark and eyes too big for sleep. He doesn't dream, or rather, he dreams too much. The kind of dreams that wake you, make your heart race, steal your peace like crows from a harvest field. His mother sent word that morning, quietly, wrapped in a basket of eggs. Just one line on a scrap of parchment. A loaf for Eli, please. He had another night of storms. Tomas said nothing, only nodded, and baked the dreamer's loaf. A medieval kindness, custom of bread for sleep. In some parts of the old world, it was tradition for the village baker to make special loaves for those in need of sleep, infused with herbs, warmed by intention, marked with symbols of peace. These loaves were not bought. They were given. Because sleep, like bread, was considered sacred, and Tomas keeps that custom alive. A quiet exchange, wordless comfort. He reaches the cottage gate. The wind chime rattles gently, tinkling like stars caught in tin. He leaves the loaf on the stone stoop, wrapped and still warm, then gently knocks. Once. The door creaks open a few moments later. Eli's mother stands there, blanket around her shoulders, eyes soft with gratitude and weariness. She takes the bundle, touches Tomas's wrist, once. No words. And then the door closes. Walking home, the moon overhead, Tomas turns back. The path is colder now, the sky deeper, like ink darkening in a bowl. Above him, the stars begin to shimmer, not loudly, but in a quiet, certain way, like old friends remembering your name. After all these years, he walks slower now, his hands tucked behind his back, the night breathing around him. And within the village, lamps are dimming, curtains are drawn, doors bolted gently shut. Everyone is preparing to join the dream world. Eli now gently approaches. Returning to the bakehouse, the hearth waits. The bakehouse welcomes him home with the softest groan of its wooden door and the last golden blink of the beeswax candle's flame. He sighs, sets the kettle on, and slips his feet from his shoes. The stone floor, though cool, feels like memory beneath his soles. Tomas opens his little journal. The leather creaks, and the pages smell faintly of clove. He writes, "Delivered the loaf. The boy will rest tonight. The moon was kind." He closes it. No need for more. The day is done. Gently, fully. Wind down, firelight, soft breath, sleep. Tomas dims the last lantern. Only the hearth remains. A soft orange glow that stretches gently across the floor. He settles into his chair, the old one by the oven, the one with the carved arms and the worn cushion. He wraps himself in a wool shawl, closes his eyes, and listens to the cooling stones, to the breath of the fire, to the world exhaling. You can listen, too. Breathe in, breathe out, soft and steady. You are the hearth. You are the flame. You are the lull at the edge of night. Let your muscles melt. Let your chest rise and fall. Let your mind fold in, like dough under a baker's hand. Final thoughts. Encouragement to rest. The loaf has been delivered. The oven has gone quiet. The candle has gone out. Everything is settled. And you, dear dreamer, you are wrapped in the same warmth, the same silence, the same hush, like Eli beneath his quilt, like Tomas in his chair, like the village beneath the stars. You are ready to drift. Let the night carry you. Let the dreams rise like fresh bread. Let yourself fall asleep. Drifting in the deep hours of night. Still resting. Still here. The world has gone very still now. No footfalls on the path. No carts. No birds. No voices. Only silence. The kind of silence that wraps around rooftops and curls into chimney pots. The kind that blankets entire villages in velvet hush. It is long past dusk now in Hollow Hearth, and the stars above are wide awake. Like candle flames scattered across the heavens, they flicker gently overhead, keeping watch. And below, nestled beside the chapel's edge, the little bakehouse sleeps. Mostly. Inside the bakehouse, the hearth breathes on. Inside, all is dim and golden and soft. The oven is cooled, but its stones still hum with heat. A warm glow pulses faintly from the embers, enough to paint shadows along the floor. Tomas sits curled in his old chair, blanket tucked around his shoulders, head tilted forward. He isn't quite asleep. Not fully. Not yet. He's in that quiet in-between place where thoughts drift like fog and the body grows heavy. But the spirit still listens. The sound of the night. Sleepy details. A log in the hearth gives a gentle sigh, settling deeper into ash. The teacup on the side table rattles faintly as it cools. And from above, in the wooden rafters, the little chimney thrush shifts in its nest. Its feathers ruffle. A tiny claw scritches the beam, then stillness again. Every sound is soft, intentional, sacred. It's as though the whole building is breathing with Tomas. Inhale, exhale. You can breathe with it too. Slowly, easily, no effort at all. Just in and out. Old superstitions, night bread and spirits. Tomas's eyes blink slowly open. He stares at the fire, not thinking, just watching. And as he sits, he remembers something his grandmother used to whisper as the flames died down. If you bake a loaf after midnight, the spirits may come watch you shape it. Not in fear, not in menace, but in curiosity. Because long ago, it was believed that bread baked in the quietest hours carried a kind of magic, that the souls of ancestors, wandering and weightless, might gather to listen to the whisper of flour and water turning into life. Tomas never knew if she meant it truly, but sometimes, when the hour grows deep like this, he can almost feel eyes in the corners. Not frightening, just gentle, just remembering. A loaf for no one, ritual and peace. He rises slowly from his chair, blanket still wrapped like a shawl, and walks toward the preparation table. He doesn't light a lamp. There's no need. The firelight is enough, just barely. He gathers flour, water, salt, a pinch of cinnamon, a touch of cream, and he begins to knead. The dough is soft, still cool from the bowl, and the act of shaping it feels more like meditation than labor. He's not making it for anyone, not for the market, not for the village, not even for himself, just to knead, just to feel the soft give and the push of palm against dough. In the medieval world, this was known as soul labor, work done not for coin, but to bring the spirit into stillness. And Tomas believes in it deeply. The baker's ghosts, gentle memories. As he works, he feels them, not as shadows, not as fear, but as warmth. The ghost of his grandmother, humming as she used to, while braiding honeyed loaves. The ghost of his father, cracking his knuckles before shaping the morning rolls. The ghost of his brother, laughing softly, as flour puffed into the air like smoke. They are not here, not really. But something remains, something that lingers in the walls, the tools, the rhythm of kneading. And as Tomas shapes the loaf and presses a star into its crown, he feels at peace. Final loaf, resting and cooling. He places the shaped bread onto a simple clay sheet and slides it into the cooling oven, just warm enough to rise. Then he sits again, watching the last coals flicker, feeling the softness settle once more. Outside, the moon is high, the stars are quiet, the village sleeps, and inside, so does Thomas, this time fully, head resting back, hands still faintly flour dusted, breath soft, asleep beside the hearth that never truly dies. Drift towards sleep. You are the loaf now. And you, dear dreamer, you are like that final loaf, shaped with love, resting in warmth, rising slowly into something beautiful. There is no rush, no worry, no wait, only the hush of night, the steady beat of your own heart, and the warmth of a story holding you close. Let go of your day, let go of your thoughts, let them slide from you, like flour from calloused hands. Breathe in and out. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not lost. You are safe. You are still. You are enough. Sleep now. The baker is dreaming, and so may you. Soft re-entry, the heart of the night. Still resting, still here with me. Your breath as steady as a lullaby. Your thoughts as slow as syrup. You haven't missed a thing. The story has waited for you, patient as moonlight on moss. It is now the deepest part of the night. A sacred hush hangs over the village, the kind of silence you can almost hold in your hands, cool and round like a river stone. Even the stars blink slower now. And the little bakehouse, tucked between chapel and well, sleeps with its windows dim and its oven dreaming in embers. A dream inside the bakehouse. Tomas sleeps. Tomas is still in his chair, blanket pulled to his chest, hands loose in his lap, cheeks touched faintly by firelight. He's not just asleep, he's dreaming. And in his dream, he is walking. Not on cobbled streets, not in hollow hearth at all, but in a field. Endless, golden, wheat swaying tall and slow beneath a honey-colored sky. His boots make no sound, his breath doesn't fog. Everything is warm, everything is soft, and ahead, a table, wooden, worn, set for one. The dream table, a medieval memory feast. On the table there is bread, 3 loaves. One is dark and round, the kind his father once made, with sour rye and black salt from the coast. One is long and golden, braided with care, just like his mother taught him on the eve of the harvest festival. And one, the last, is a perfect circle, pale and dusted with barley flour, still warm, with a soft curl of steam rising like breath from its center. It's his own recipe, the one he hasn't made yet, not in the waking world. Tomas smiles, and from somewhere in the wheat, laughter, gentle, familiar, the sound of those who came before him, the medieval belief, dreams as visitations. In many medieval villages, it was believed that dreams weren't just dreams. They were doorways, thin places, where the veil between worlds thin, like parchment worn smooth with prayer. The baker's dream was such a place, not just imagination, but memory and longing and love, knotted together like bread dough beneath careful hands. In the dream, a gift of bread. He walks to the table, sits. The wind in the wheat hums low, a sound like old songs and steady breath. He takes the barley loaf in his hands, breaks it open. Inside, not crumbs, but tiny folded scraps of parchment, each one bearing a name. Villagers, loved ones, strangers, each name he's ever baked for, ever needed for, ever fed. Tomas watches the names drift up, caught on dream breeze. He doesn't reach for them, he just breathes, because in this dream, the act of feeding is eternal, a kindness that echoes long after the loaf is gone. Meanwhile, in the real world, the oven murmurs. Back in the waking world, the oven sighs. The final loaf, the midnight bread, is rising beautifully, cracks forming on its crust like veins on a leaf. The smell is sweet and warm, lavender and cream, cinnamon and barley, the kind of smell that seeps into dreams and makes the mind settle like flour in a jar. The little thrush above stirs in her sleep. The coals crackle once, then quiet, and Tomas dreams on. Outside, the village dreaming too. Out beyond the bakehouse, the whole of hollow hearth is deep in slumber. Malin, the little girl with berry-stained mittens, dreams of foxes that speak in riddles and hide trinkets in tree roots. Old Mr. Ellis, still wrapped in his woolen shawl, smiles in his sleep, dreaming of his youth, of bells that rang without pulling, of barley fields under sun. Even the sheep in their pens stand still and silent, their dreams full of meadow grass and cloudlight. Everyone is resting. Everyone is safe. Invitation to drift. You are the loaf, the dream, the field, and you, still nestled in your quiet world, still breathing so slowly, you are part of it. You are Tomas, dreaming in the chair. You are the bread, warm and rising in the hearth. You are the wheat, swaying in a dream field under gold sky. There is no place you need to go, no thought you need to chase, no sound to follow, Only this moment, only this peace. Let your shoulders fall. Let your eyelids grow heavy. Let your thoughts stretch and dissolve. Like steam from a freshly broken crust. You are rising softly, slowly. The way dough rises in stillness. The way dreams lift beneath moonlight. You are becoming sleep. Gentle exit. The dream carries on. Back in his dream, Tomas picks up the last loaf. The one he hasn't baked yet. He smiles and begins to walk again, loaf in hand. Into the wheat, into the golden hush, into the unseen morning beyond the stars. And you? You are walking too, in your own field, in your own dream, following the scent of rest, the warmth of safety, the hush of an old village that has always waited for you. Return to the hearth, stillness at dawn's edge. You're still resting, so quiet, so safe, and so we return, one last time, to the sleepy stone village, nestled beneath the misted hills, hollow hearth, where windows glow low, where the well holds stars in its dark water, and where a single bakehouse stands, wrapped in silence. At the edge of morning, it is the very edge of dawn now, the hour of still blue light, when night has not fully gone, and day hasn't quite arrived. Time pauses here, just for a little while, just for you. Tomas awakens, the final stirring. Inside the bakehouse, the coals in the hearth have faded to ash. The air is cool now, like linen left to dry on a spring morning. Tomas shifts in his sleep, then, slowly, opens his eyes. He doesn't speak, doesn't stretch. He simply breathes, deep and even, the way one does when they've dreamed of things that matter. He sits for a moment in the dim hush, watching the last ember wink out, then rises, blanket still over his shoulders. The midnight loaf, a symbol of closure. On the stone counter, wrapped in a cloth of pale flax, sits the loaf he made after midnight. It has cooled now, but not completely. When he lifts the linen, a soft cloud of warmth escapes, carrying the scent of barley, honey, and cinnamon. He smiles. This loaf isn't for the market, isn't for the village, isn't even for Eli or Anwin. This one is for the hearth, a simple tradition, almost forgotten, from a time when people believed that ovens were living things, that to feed the fire was to feed the soul of the home. So Tomas sets the loaf gently, beside the oven mouth, and breaks off a small piece. He places it directly into the coals, lets it smolder, lets it scent the room one last time, an offering, a thank you, a farewell to the night. Medieval belief, Hearth as spirit. Long ago, villagers believed the hearth held a spirit, a guardian, a keeper of warmth, memory, and time. To leave bread in the embers was to say, we remember you. To say, stay with us. To say, this place is still home. Tomas never spoke of this aloud, but he believed it in his bones. And so, each week, he made this quiet offering, not from fear, but from deep affection. You see, even in a world of stone and ash, there are still places where love lingers, like warmth in old brick, like stories in flour, like dreams in you. Preparing for the day, gentle movements. Outside the bakehouse, the first cockerel calls. Soft, not urgent. In another hour, the streets will stir again. Boots will echo. Laughter will rise. The bell will ring 3 times for sunrise. But not yet. Tomas moves slowly, fills the kettle, sweeps the floor, lays fresh cloths across the workbench. Every motion is quiet. Every step is careful. He's not rushing to begin the day. He's finishing the night, the sacred hush of it, the invisible peace that lives between one breath and the next. Closing the dream, the last thought of night, outside the window, the sky has begun to change. Not all at once, but gently, a soft blush of light reaches across the horizon, touching the rooftops, kissing the chapel cross, spilling silver over the cobblestones. And Thomas Baker of Hollow Hearth, dreamer of golden fields, keeper of warmth, stands at his doorway and watches it arrive. He says nothing, only places one flower-dusted hand over his heart, just for a moment to remember the dreams, a moment to thank the quiet, a moment to feel the warmth still clinging to the edges of sleep. And you, dreamer, the final blessing. And you, sweet soul, still resting, still warm, still wrapped in the story. This is your moment too. This hush, this safety, this warmth. It is yours. You are part of this world now. The world of Thomas, of the dream loaf, of the humming hearth and flickering candlelight. You have walked the path. You have felt the flower between your fingers. You have risen like dough in the heat of kindness. You are whole. You are home. You are held. Let your breath slow now. Let the final bits of the story curl around you like smoke from the morning oven. Sleep can stay with you. Even as dawn approaches, you may rest a little longer, or drift into the next dream, or float, soft and slow, on the golden wheat field of your heart. Final words, a whispered goodbye. This is the end of the night, but not the end of the warmth. Whenever you need it, the story will be here, waiting by the oven, with hands dusted in flour and a loaf set aside just for you. Sleep well now, dear dreamer. The baker has closed his eyes. The fire has whispered its last sigh. And you? You are safe. You are still. You are loved.